Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? This your boy Rob Thomas Jr., and this is the real news behind the news. Yeah, today is Friday, February 21st, here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And it's kind of cold, y'all. Woke up this morning, and the big heater had went out. And man, I'm talking about it was cold in the morning. It was about 35, 33 degrees this morning when I woke up in here, man. That was crazy. So you know, forgive me, I'm fully dressed, but it's kind of cold in here. But we want to do a show real quick um, about this Chronos virus because I have been asking questions. Y'all give me a second, trying to stay warm. It ain't nothing like a good cup of coffee. But we want to talk about this Chronos virus briefly for just a second, because it's coming to find out more and more information is coming out that it's looking like that this virus was possibly unleashed on purpose. Hey, that Miss Fit, how you doing? It's 20 in Cincinnati. I can imagine. My son's mom is from Ohio. She's from Columbus, and we had a chance to get up there. Hey, brother, hey, how you doing? Top of the afternoon to y'all. Thank y'all for subscribing and thank y'all for y'all support. But yeah, when I woke up, the main heater, I just went and bought a heater of about a month and a half ago. And then the big heater, the one that pretty much keeps a good 2/3 of the house somewhat warm, it went out last night, man. I woke up this morning, it was crazy. So I got to try to focus on getting another heater because good thing about it here in Shreveport, the bad weather, all the rain is clearing out. So now I might be able to, get out there and do a little work. My health is a little bit better, so I feel all the positive energy in the universe is coming back to me, for me. Although I want to do these shows here because again, like I said earlier this week, we working right now on an extended portion of our Wi-Fi. I got to try to pay that bill. So bills keep coming, but they don't stop us from getting the grind and start, keep us from putting the information out there. But let me go back and I'll tell you what we found out thus far. Now, believe it or not, 2 weeks, I believe it was a month or so before the outbreak of the coronavirus started in Wuhan, China. Guess what, y'all? They had a massive military drill. Actually, they called it the military Olympics in Wuhan, China, meaning that you had armies, militaries, including the United States, came to Wuhan, China, and they participated in, I guess, what would be Olympic type of events, doing military drills, which leads us to ask the question. Remember when I said, what if this virus was unleashed against the people of China on purpose? Now, again, I'm speculating, but we're looking at the information that has been given to us recently where they had conducted war games in China, and the United States as well as other militaries was there participating in these games. While at the same time, now keep in mind that they were participating in the military Olympics. They were actually, the United Nations was actually holding a drill, mocking what would happen if a virus like the coronavirus got out and spread it in a pandemic. Now you got to realize the importance of this, because if you go back and you look at a lot of your mass shootings here in America, one of the first things that you'll notice is that at the same time they're having these mass shooting, they're having drills, prepared, mocking mass shootings. Basically, what I'm getting at is, I believe, now this is just my belief, and I'm gonna put a link up to the story. Matter of fact, let me read you all this story where we get this from, and this is from a credible, very credible source. You always got to check your credible sources to make sure that they're credible. And this source here is the activist post. Now, the reporter who broke this story is a person who's actually over there in China, doing the research or whatever. He's basically, investigating. But let me just go ahead and read this to y'all real quick. UN troops featured in military world games in Wuhan, China, weeks before coronavirus outbreak. In this report, we take a look at the World Military Games opening ceremony held in Wuhan, China. Is it just a coincidence that the United Nations themed pandemic simulation of a global coronavirus outbreak took place the same day as the UN-themed opening ceremonies in Wuhan, which is ground zero for the outbreak. Um, I tell you what, I could go on. I'll let you off because there's a video attached to this article, and he can explain it a little bit more better to you. But again, like we always ask our subscribers, always ask questions. We know that this virus is man-made, and it has been weaponized. By meaning weaponized, it has been created so that it can mutate from as it goes from host to host. They started out with one type of virus. Now it's mutating into another type of virus as we speak. And think about this. China has over 1 billion people. Do you realize that right now there's 725 million people in China that are under quarantine? Think about it like this. That is 1/10 of the world's entire population, man. 1/10 of the world's population, which is in China. I mean, this big portion of China is under quarantine and is steadily spreading. Now there's cases in the Philippines. They're even you finding cases in South Korea. Of course, they got cases here in America. They're finding cases in Japan, the Ukraine. This virus is spreading. Now, I don't want to be an alarmist or try to sensationalize things, but it is time to start asking serious questions and wonder how far this virus is going to spread and will it mutate to something. We also have to be aware that in a situation like this, who stands to benefit from it? The pharmaceutical companies, because they're going to be the ones to make the vaccines. What if, I'm going to be real, let me play devil's advocate. What if, I heard the cases in the Middle, there are cases in the Middle East too. It's spreading all over the world. And a lot of the information that we're getting, y'all excuse me, man, let me take another sip of this coffee. But yeah, a lot of the information that we're going to get is going to be censored. Look how China censored the information, and that allowed the virus to spread as rapidly as it did from China to other countries. Because again, while the Chinese government was trying to suppress information and come up with a line of propaganda, people were traveling back and forth. You know what I'm saying? International flights or whatever. People were steadily traveling, and you had people who were exposed at ground zero in Wuhan, China, in the Wuhan province. They moved around now and probably went to New Delhi or somewhere. And now you got a carrier of this virus bringing it into a place that has another population of 1 billion people. You see how fast these viruses can spread. So what we're finding out now is that simultaneously they had the world military game. I never thought there was such a thing in my life. Never even heard of it. But yeah, it's the Olympics for different militaries, including the United States, participated in this. And then at the same time, the United Nations was holding a conference of a mock drill of what would happen if the coronavirus escaped. So that means they knew about this virus beforehand. They knew that it had the potential to spread. Now, again, it's no coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidence that in Wuhan, China, which is ground zero, you had all these militaries practicing military games. What if the United States, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. What if the United States unleashed that virus intentionally? Because again, you got to realize we're at war with China economically. Because you stop and think about it, right now, this virus has shut China down, their economy down. Because again, 750 million, well over half of your population is quarantined. So China is hurting now financially because they are not able to sell their products. Do you realize Chinese right now having to burn a lot of their money? New Delhi is one of the filthiest, poorest places on earth. If it reaches there, God help those people if it reaches to New Delhi. Yes, ma'am. Or what if it spreads to Africa now? Gets a foothold into Africa. So again, some of the poorest people on the planet. So again, I go back. The United States is at war economically, cyberly, and, in a sense, a Cold War militarily with China. What if they unleashed that virus over there, knowing that it would give them the upper hand because it would decimate the Chinese people. Again, it would hurt their economy because nobody wants to accept Chinese products no more, and it's hard for Chinese through the sanctions that America already got on. It's hard for them to get products. Notice this, priest brother. Hey, what's going on, Earthman? Again, think about this. United States and China been beefing so hard that China does not accept agriculture products. They had a stipulation that they would not accept American agriculture products, especially poultry, because we in America use too many antibiotics and all these other pesticides and stuff in our agriculture. Well, since the spread of the coronavirus, China had to back off that and is now accepting chicken. It was not because of coronavirus, but remember just last year you had the bird flu in China. Epidemic virus was unleashed amongst the avian, when I say avian, the bird population, namely chickens. So China has been fighting virus after virus. So many chickens died over there in China last year that now they have no choice but to back off of their ban on American chicken, and now they gotta buy chicken from America because half the chickens over there are dead. All these viruses hitting China like this can't be a coincidence. It's called biological warfare. And again, when you look at all the stuff that's happening and the rate this virus is spreading, you know that first and foremost, this is a man-made virus because those viruses are designed to mutate. Most of those coronaviruses weren't able to survive in humans. It was mostly found in animals. So you have a new strain of that virus that's unleashed, and now it's decimating China. Again, 1/10 of your world's population is under quarantine, and that's just in China alone. You got hundreds. You got, they say, I think up to 600 who might be infected in Japan. We got at least they say 14 cases here in America. Doing good, my brother, and thanks for the hard work, brother. When I get that thing rolling, I will be sending. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I wish we could use anything right now, because like I say, man, we got to try to figure out to get another heater before it gets night, because it's gonna be too cold for my son, and his big brother is not sleeping in the bed with dad. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But we thank you, man, for the support. And that's what we do here at the Real News Behind the News, man. We just trying to inform people. We always ask questions. I teach my son, I've been teaching him ever since he was 1, ask questions. And even right now, I get tired of him, Dad, why? But Dad, and it's cool that, it's cool to have knowledge. Money is cool. But if you got knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you can always make money. But you share this knowledge and wisdom, man, with others, so that way you can help bring other people who've been in the dark into the light. And again, we always ask questions. And in this situation here, we do have to ask questions because this virus, right now, I'm going to be real, the flu kills more people than any other thing right now. But this virus has the potential. Think about it. It's spreading right now during flu season. So your body is already weak. You see what I'm saying? So think about this. Now, what if somebody has the flu and then contact this virus? He pretty much a goner. So this, I'm not, again, trying to sensationalize things, but this is how deadly these viruses are. And then again, when we go back, and who profits off these viruses? The pharmaceutical companies, because their goal right now, one or two of them have filed patents on the virus already. We do know that for sure. Now, they file a patent means that they get to monopolize on the cure once they get a vaccine for it. And again, another track we want to go down, one of the reasons why the flu is getting more and more severe is because of the flu shots, because of the vaccination. We as human beings have gotten so, I guess you could say, immune to all this stuff they're shooting in us that supposedly keep us sick from getting sick, that our bodies can no longer function normally and fight these viruses off. Really, if you had a cold or flu back in the days, they give you some of that chicken noodle soup, plenty of orange juice. You got plenty of water in your body. You got rest. Now they come out with the flu shot, and I'm pretty sure most of y'all know that they're shooting you up with the flu virus mixed with other chemicals. And this is why the flu virus, they have to do it every year, because the flu virus itself is mutating from the flu shots. And we are steadily putting this stuff in our body, thinking that it's going to help us to keep from getting sick. But you're going to get sick instantly once they shoot you with it, because they're shooting you with a live version of the flu. So we got to realize that the pharmaceutical companies play slick games, and they're not above playing with people's lives just to make money. They do it every day. Think about it. There are cures for cancers. There are cures for certain diseases. But the pharmaceutical companies are not going to give you the cure. They're going to give you medications that deal with the symptoms. Because if they cured you, they would go out of business. There would be no need for them. So in reality, they're in the business to keep you prolong your sickness for as long as they can, because as long as you're sick, you are a customer. You see what I'm saying? So again, all that ties back to the coronavirus, man. Y'all excuse me. All this stuff ties back to the coronavirus. And that what they do, again, they don't have no problem unleashing these viruses on the population. For one, they want to test their vaccines for the virus. But at the same time, you got to realize through UN projects like Agenda 21, through a lot of eugenicists like Bill and Melinda Gates and all these people who believe that there are too many people on Earth, they believe in mass pandemics, because in their eyes, it's a way of dwindling the Earth's population to a manageable number. Remember on the Avengers Endgame, when Kronos said that in order for the world to get better, 3/4 of the population, he killed 3/4 of the people in the whole universe. That's the frame of mind that these eugenicists are in. They need 3/4 of us to die, 3/4 of the world's population to die, so that they can really control the world's resources. But I look at it like, if you all worried about the world's population, why don't you start off by killing yourself and decrease the population by 1? Why the rest of us gotta die? For real, that's common sense. If you think it's too many people, kill yourself and decrease the population by 1. But you're talking about rich corporations, rich individuals who literally have no problem with allowing or deliberately unleashing a virus to destroy a population. And they always notice where they always unleash these viruses amongst the poor. The poor are always the ones to suffer. And like say in Wuhan, China, that's one of the poorest provinces in China. But they have a biological lab. Melanie say like they are the ones destroying the planet. Not us. Exactly. They the ones around here digging up all these fracking. You believe it or not, fracking causing earthquakes in places that you never ever even dreamed of, because they're shooting water, high pressure, into the ground just to steal the gas out the ground. They're the ones destroying the earth with all these coal plants. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones destroying the earth, but they want us to die so they can continue to rape and rob, the planet of its natural resources. So again, they're not above unleashing pestilence, and plagues upon mankind. Again, I use this example. I think it was about 2006, 2007, how the Bill and Melinda Foundation through the United Nations got exposed for going down to Africa. And they was telling these women that they was giving them vaccinations, but in reality, they was sterilizing them through these vaccinations. And they got caught doing it. Nobody went to jail. And it was just, hold home. Shortly after that, look what happened. You get the Ebola outbreak. We know that Ebola was created in a laboratory. And a lot of these viruses, they practice and unleash them like in places like Africa. You know what I'm saying? Because you have mass populations that you can test, and I guess it make for a good control test subject. They make for a good, that spot makes for good control tests. So they'll unleash it on Africa first. You know what I'm saying? And then too, you also got to realize a lot of these viruses are being genetically modified and it attacks people according to their races. Believe it or not, they have viruses right now that they have genetically modified that only work really effectively in black people. You know, so they have some that affect white people. They got viruses dang them for every race. It's like you can go into a sadistic grocery store of mad scientists and just look on the shelf. And I think I'll take PWD virus that kills Chinese people. Literally, this is how devious the mind of man is, that they can manipulate these bugs. And these bugs genetically are designed to target certain races' DNA. They probably responsible for the locusts in East Africa. Well, now a lot of that with the locusts in East Africa had a lot to do with the weather. That's a natural phenomenon there, but it's just as deadly as the coronavirus. People might not die immediately, but you look at all the crops that those locusts have destroyed. I think it's like that one swarm of locusts in less than 24 hours is eating as much food as almost 50,000 people. They're destroying entire crops that's designed to feed entire countries in less than hours. So now you look at Africa, one of the poorest places on the planet that's already suffering from drought and famine. Now what little crops they have been destroyed. It's crazy, but that's man-made. I mean, that's not man-made. That's through the weather. Because what happened, they had a couple of, they call them cyclones over there. We call them hurricanes. They had a bunch of hurricanes, a massive flooding, and, different weather elements to come together and produce perfect breeding grounds for the swarm to breed and reproduce. What happens is the locusts like the wet, dry sand. They lay their eggs in there. And the longer that sand can stay wet and dry, the more eggs are going to be laid. One locust, I think, can lay up to 100 eggs. So just imagine 2 days later, the eggs hatch. And then you get the grasshoppers. They start off as grasshoppers. They can't even fly. But shortly after that, they get their wings. And when one takes off by itself, if you just catch one grasshopper flying by itself, it's nothing. But when they all come together and fly as a swarm, that's when you get something that's amounting to a biblical plague. Because that's what you're seeing in Africa is a swarm of locusts that's pretty much almost like the plagues of the Bible. These locusts now are far as east as China. China and I know it's another country. I can't call it off right now. But yeah, they're moving out of Africa. You know what I'm saying? They went through the Middle East, and now they're going through, they're at the border of China. And just imagine, with China facing this coronavirus scare like they are, and then they get these locusts. What to say the locusts won't spread the plague even farther? Contract the plague and then spread it in some kind of way. We're looking at some serious times in the world, people, but we always ask questions here, and we try to find out. And a lot of times we're not always right. But there's going to always be at least 80% of truth in what we say before we even get out here and say it. That's why we don't do our videos really that regularly, because we don't feel, I don't believe just getting up here and try to do a video just to get people to like me or see me. I like to have content and subject matter that really affects your life. Most people would not even think about overseas. Most people in America can't see past their cell phone screen. They definitely can't see past their mailbox in the block that they live on. But the world is a whole lot bigger. And once people understand, you have to understand what's going on internationally to even begin to understand what's going on in your own neighborhood. We'll talk about that. Matter of fact, we'll talk about that tonight. We'll talk about how what the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians. Black people should be the first ones to pay attention, because the same practices of apartheid, separation, and racism that they practice on the Palestinians, our government through the sheriff departments and police departments are taught these same tactics. Y'all forgive me about that. They're taught these same tactics, and they come back and use them on us. Think about it. Why do we call our hoods ghettos? Because that's what Hitler put the Jews in. ghettos. So what we think we got a hood, but no, what we really live in the urban areas of black America is open air prisons. Our neighborhoods are constantly patrolled by police, same as they are over there in Israel, with the idea of suppressing the rights, the movements, and everything of the Palestinians. So again, y'all, I'm finna get out here, man. Go try to at least nothing else, man. Come up and get a heater, man. I gotta get a heater in here before this little boy. Well, I know I ain't gonna have it before he get out of school, but I got to get that taken care of. And y'all pray with me on the internet, you know. And if y'all feel like y'all, you know, like what we do, y'all can hit the Cash App. You know, we ain't gonna be like a lot of YouTubers just say, hey, hit that Cash App, hit that Cash App. And we feel that if we doing a good enough job bringing you all information, a couple of y'all have already supported us. You know what I'm saying? And we are grateful for everything and anything that we can get. So we always put the cash tag link, the cash tag in the description section. And again, we don't, I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, I might well be a preacher, and then I wouldn't have no problem asking people for money. We do what we do for free, you know. But you go to church, they're gonna lie to you, and then you gotta pay for it. You gotta pay them to lie to you. So again, hey, we thank y'all for y'all support. Keep making sure you subscribe. If you like this video, man, please hit the thumbs up. Even if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down, because we're finding out when you hit that like button, it helps push our show up in the analytics. Because for so long, they have been using the analytics to suppress us. Thank you, Brother Jones. I really do appreciate it, man. I really do. I mean, I get to create all that glory because, again, most people want to get up here and try to entertain you. My job, I believe, is to be a bringer of information, you know. Again, man, hit that like button, because again, it takes us up in the analytics, and that's why we've been able to gain subscribers like we have now, because y'all are watching and y'all hitting that like button. Hey, man, we thank y'all. Remember, stay subscribed, and if you want to donate, hit the cash tag. I'm gonna try to be back tonight. We're gonna talk about the Israeli and Palestinians, how that apartheid state of Israel is basically a forerunner for what you see here in America in our neighborhood, by the way they suppress the basic human rights of the Palestinians. Hey, y'all be blessed, man.